Caribou Weather Dude YouTube channel. I'm Joey. Only hit like, share, and subscribe. Up to 4,000 earthquakes happen every year in Canada. Most are magnitude 3 or lower and are not felt by anybody. But some in the history of this country have been very, very big in the not so recent past. Here are the 10 worst earthquakes in Canadian recorded history. There it is. This is bad news.
My God.
Falling out right now.
Anything could happen. Wow. I'll watch the video later. They drum up in this. Number 1, January 26, 1700. An estimated magnitude 9 earthquake off the Cascadia subduction zone in British Columbia. Written records in Japan of the tsunami generated by this earthquake provided the precise date and time of this event. Vancouver Island and First Nations oral histories describe how the tsunami destroyed a village at Pachena Bay on the west coast of the island, leaving no survivors. They also say the shaking damaged houses in the Cowichan Lake region of south central Vancouver Island. Next, August 22nd, 1949, a magnitude 8.1. And June 24th, 1970, a magnitude 7.4. And May 26th, 1929, a magnitude 7. 3 off of the coast of British Columbia. The Queen Charlotte Fault was the site of 3 of the largest earthquakes in Canada's history, including the largest one in the last 150 years. This fault, known as a transform fault, separates 2 plates that are sliding past each other. The San Andreas Fault in California is another well-known example of a transform fault. In 1949, the earthquake was felt as far north as the Yukon Territory and as far south as Oregon. U.S. damage was limited due to the very sparse population. Nonetheless, on Haida Gwaii, chimneys toppled and cows were knocked off their feet. On the mainland, windows shattered and buildings swayed. On November 20th, 1933, a magnitude 7.3 happened in Baffin Bay, Nunavut. This is one of the largest earthquakes ever recorded north of the Arctic Circle. Due to the offshore location and limited infrastructure in the region, there was no reported damage. Next on the list, November 18, 1929, magnitude 7.2, also known as the Laurentian Slope earthquake and the South Shore disaster in Grand Banks, Newfoundland. This earthquake south of Newfoundland generated a tsunami that resulted in the deaths of 28 people on Newfoundland's Burin Peninsula. Homes, ships, businesses, livestock, and fishing gear were destroyed. Property losses totaled more than $1 million back in 1929. The adjacent photograph shows buildings that were tossed and smashed by the tsunami. Vancouver Island, BC, in June 23, 1946, had a magnitude 7.3 earthquake. This remains Canada's largest recorded onshore earthquake, and it resulted in 2 deaths. One was due to drowning when an earthquake-induced wave capsized a small boat, and the other was due to a heart attack. This earthquake triggered numerous landslides across central Vancouver Island and the adjacent mainland as well. In nearby communities, 75% of the chimneys were toppled, brick facades were damaged, and windows were broken. February 5th, 1663, an estimated magnitude 7 in Charlevoix, Quebec. This earthquake was felt all over the entire eastern part of North America. It caused massive landslides which altered the landscape around St. Maurice and the Saguenay rivers. Despite the landslides, there was only minor structural damage and no reported deaths. Next on the list from Earthquakes Canada is Vancouver Island, BC's December 6, 1918, magnitude 6.9 earthquake. This earthquake occurred just after midnight and awakened people all over Vancouver Island and Greater Vancouver. Amongst the damage was a wharf in Ucluelet and a lighthouse at Estevan Point. At the lighthouse, the shaking was so severe that the entire length of the 33-meter-long steel-reinforced concrete tower cracked. The glass lens also shattered, rendering the lighthouse inoperable. Nahanni Region, Northwest Territories, December 23, 1985, had a magnitude 6.9 earthquake. Before 1985, the Nahanni Range experienced very little earthquake activity. This earthquake caused widespread alarm as most people in the Northwest Territories had never felt an earthquake. No major structural damage was reported, as the nearest communities were still 100 kilometers away from the epicenter or more. Well, that's just a short list of the worst earthquakes to ever happen in Canada. there's a lot of them. They always happen. So if you live in an earthquake-prone zone, be aware. The areas like the Ottawa Valley have had some pretty strong earthquakes in the past. Areas like the Niagara Escarpment have had some off of the East Coast. And of course, British Columbia has multiple fault ranges, and some of them that, the Cascadia could be the big one when it happens again, just like that 1700 earthquake there that would have been catastrophic had it occurred today. Well, okay, hit like, share, subscribe. Thanks for coming by, and we'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.
People in Vancouver, you can't escape from major earthquakes forever.